So with us now for her second of four quarterly addresses in 2019 is longtime friend of the Senior Zone, the Executive Director of the DC Department of Aging and Community Living, Miss Laura Newland. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Chad. How are you?
I am doing well, doing well. It's tax day.
I know. I love taxes, actually. I'm a big tax nerd, so today is a pretty exciting day.
Taxes keep you doing what you're doing, and you've been doing it well. We don't have a lot of time, as you already know, so I want to get a lot of things in as best as we can, Director Newland. So I've heard some big news about your agency. I mean to say your department now. I hope I didn't steal your thunder. And it's happened since the last time your office was here, your Deputy Director, Aurora Dellispin-Jones. But can you tell us the big news? Can you break the secret with us?
Yeah, I'm so excited to do so. It's a big moment for our community. Just last month, the mayor, or actually it's been 2 months now, the mayor signed publicly the bill turning the DC Office on Aging into the DC Department of Aging and Community Living. So we're really excited about that. Now what I tell people is the mayor is the mayor. She's has her expectations no matter what. So she had high standards for us, even as an office, and that will continue as a department. But I think for the community, it's really meaningful to be able to have that validation from the district government that, we have an entire department just for seniors and this idea of community living. So we're really excited about it.
I already thought that DCOA was doing a phenomenal job already. But now as a department, what does that mean for our seniors? What's the impact or the greater impact that it's going to have being a department?
So, I think, again, the mayor had those expectations of us even before, but I think what that means is we are going to be looking kind of to the future about what can we do even bigger and better. So one of the things that the mayor proposed in her FY20 budget is moving adult protective services into the Department of Aging and Community Living. And as you know, APS is the agency where people can call if they are the victims of or know someone who is a victim of fraud, abuse, exploitation. And so that's a pretty big step for us to get APS. And, the mayor said she really wanted one agency to work with seniors, the entire population, from when you're active in a wellness center to when you're dealing with emergency. And so I think that is a reflection of her idea of what it means for us to be a department.
Yeah, you mentioned the budget, a 2020 budget. I believe it was this time last year we were talking about the 2019 budget. How does this year's budget, what are the priorities of the budget? How does it differ from last year? And I want to talk about some of the successful programs you've had with those budgets, the Safe at Home program, Transport DC, et cetera.
So, if you ask the mayor, what are your 3 top priorities for seniors in the district, she's going to tell you it's housing, transportation, and ending senior isolation. Those are the things, if you look overall in her budget, you see her commitment towards all of those things. The budget for the Department of Aging and Community Living has actually increased by 10% from my FY19 budget. So that's a pretty significant increase right now, and it's certainly larger than the increase of the overall budget. So we're really excited about that. It includes the APS move as well as even more investments in Safe at Home, which you mentioned has been a wildly successful program.
Yeah, we promote it each and every week here on the Senior Zone.
I can tell, Sean.
I love that program, and I hear more about it, when I'm out in the community there. So I applaud you for that. The mayor, unlike other mayors, this is not to say anything of her predecessors. She really seems to put seniors out front. She has a focus, kind of like a laser sort of focus on the senior community. And she mentioned them during her State of the District address. Can you talk about that and what was said and meant, from the mayor?
Yeah, I think it's been great. This mayor really has been focused on seniors, I think, in a way that has been a little different from prior mayors, and the investments that she's made in this agency has certainly reflected that. The budget has grown significantly from when she first started as mayor 4 years ago, and in her second term, she's looking at how can we do better, not just within the the agency itself, but across the entire district government. And I think that's what you're seeing from her, whether it's at the state of the district, whether she's out in the community and talking about those kinds of things. She's talking about investments across the district, and saying all of her district agencies have the responsibility of taking care of our seniors, no matter what. It's not just the Department of Aging and Community Living, it's all of us. And we need all of us to create that kind of community.
And I mean, whether you're dealing with infrastructure or education or public safety, the entire community should be lifted, right?
That's right.
And seniors are part of that community.
That's right.
So I get that part of it. But now with your new department, and I really want to dive a little bit in if we can, Laura, with the new department, the Department of Aging and Community Living for 2020, what can DC seniors, expect? Because in my opinion, I mean, this is the place to age.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be biased here, I'm interviewing you, but what can DC seniors expect above and beyond when it was DCOA?
Well, that's not bias, that's just a true shot. DC really is the best place to age, and we believe that very strongly, and we're committed to making sure that's the case every day. As far as what can you expect, you can expect more of the same, but just amplified. So with the move of APS coming into the Department of Aging and Community Living, we're really excited to bring that team into our fold, but I think it's going to really make us better. It's going to make us better because we're going to be able to look at all of our programs and say, are we serving everybody the way that we need to? So, whether it's case management in the community, whether it's our nutrition programs, the question that we always ask internally is, are we reaching the folks that we need to reach? And that's what the mayor asked me the first time that I met her, was what are we going to do to end senior social isolation, right? And so this is our big theme, and we're really going to concentrate on that. And I think now is the perfect opportunity to do that. And we're asking the community to help us come up with ideas where we can create that community and help support it.
Senior spotting, but
I got you.
I'm on that same mission and trying to add value where I can, with respect to combating, social isolation. I think it's so important. I think if we can tackle that area, a lot of the other, costly areas would fall because it impacts one's health, right?
Right.
And many other things. But so with that being said, let's talk about social isolation if we can, and how do you see us mitigating, that fight and getting seniors more involved in the community, those that are hard to reach, and
right.
just not in the buildings, those are easy to reach, right, in the rec centers, but those that are in their homes, how can we get them outside of their four walls and better engaged and adding value back into our community?
So, I think what we've realized is that it's not just enough to create great programs. We have great programs, right, but we have to be able to build the trust of the community and of the seniors to get them to come out and want to come out and join us. And it's interesting that you mentioned the buildings. I think the big shift for me came when there was a big fire at Arthur Caper last fall. I don't know if you remember that, but that was one of our senior buildings in the district. And we were in that building. I had done numerous town halls. The mayor had gone there every Valentine's Day, handed out Valentine's Day cards. We had a meal site there. We had a lead agency there. And after that fire, what we realized was we only had been reaching about a quarter of that building. And that building was about 160 units. And so, we had reached about a quarter of them, which sounds okay. But when we had done the intensive case management post-fire to help rehouse people and help them rebuild their lives after the fire, there were so many more people who really needed support and were living by themselves and were alone. And that was a big shift for us in our thinking about saying, look, we really need to reevaluate what we're doing and how we're doing it, because our current method, while it might be good, it's still not good enough. We're not reaching everybody we need to reach.
So what's the master plan to reach that additional 75% of the population? Help us out there.
So I think, the short answer is we're not sure. But the great thing about having a conversation with you and reaching the folks that you reach, and I go out in the community, as you know, is that we're engaging people all over the community and saying, help us come up with ideas that we can engage. So we do that through Safe at Home. I think Safe at Home has been our biggest program where we're actually going into people's homes and we're helping them reduce their fear and anxiety about being in their house and maybe even leaving the home, because I know one of the reasons why people stay in their homes and maybe don't engage with the community that much is because they're afraid of falling. They're afraid of that risk to their health. And so if we can kind of eliminate some of those fears and anxieties, then I think we're one step closer to community engagement. So, we got to keep on coming up with ideas like that.
Yeah. Well, where and when we can, here on the Senior Zone, we're here for you.
Yeah.
You are a very visible director of the Department of Aging and Community Living, and so you're out in the community all the time. When I go, I see you. What are you hearing? What feedback are you receiving from the DC senior community in terms of preparing for the future, and getting them out? What are just I'll leave it up to you. Just what are you hearing from the community? Give me your top three. What are their needs? What are they saying to you?
So I think the great thing about being out in the community is it's really made me fall in love with DC even more than before this job. And one of the things that I definitely hear is that they care about the community in which they live and they want to be a part of it. And I really love that, being from a younger generation and being from Michigan in a small town. I left there because I wanted to go to a big city, and now that I'm older and now I have this job, I really realize the importance of community and how great it is to know your neighbors and how great it is to have people look out for you. And that's the overwhelming sense that I get no matter what ward I'm in the community. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? So it's like, yes, we really believe in community. And also we want to be a part of the way the city is changing. Because the city is changing a lot. I moved here 15 years ago, and in that time frame, it's changed so much. And so for someone who's lived their entire lifetime, you can just imagine what that's like.
Yeah.
So I think there's a mix. It's really a desire to stay engaged, to remain relevant within the community, and make sure that people understand that they still have a lot to contribute. And so that's partly where we step in to say, hey, let's figure out ways that you can engage, and let's help remind people of all the contributions you've made, but also all the contributions you continue making and will continue making.
I contend, and I've said it, I say this all the time, they still have a deposit that they can still make here, while they're here. And, it benefits you and I.
That's right.
They still have value. So that's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And just for that, that's my mantle. Real quick, we only have a few minutes to go. I understand the Mayor's Senior Symposium is coming up. Can you talk about that? The theme this year, what's different than the previous years?
Well, we are really excited about the Senior Symposium this year. It is going to be back at Ballou High School. And so for those of you who've been with us for a few years, we were at Ballou High School in Ward A 2 years ago. And it's a beautiful space. We're going to be there on June 19th, 2019. We're still working on a theme. So if you're interested in specific sessions or ideas for us, please call us and let us know. You can call us at 202-724-5626. Last year, our theme was engaging with technology, and that was really cool. So this year, we're still talking to seniors. Every year, we talk with seniors about what is it that you'd like to hear more about. So we'd love to hear from you and see what we can do that would be exciting for the community.
Give that number out one more time.
It's 202-724-5626.
I want to give you, we have 2 minutes to go, Laura. I want to give you this floor, this platform, for any last remarks, anything that you want to communicate that I haven't asked to our listeners. And if you have to, employ them to spread the word, this is your time.
Thanks so much, Sean. Our big theme is ending senior social isolation. The mayor in her second term, when she was preparing, asked every director, what would you do if you weren't afraid to fail? It's such an interesting question because so often in our lives, I think we think a little small because we don't like the idea of failure. And so she was really pushing us to think big. And for us, the answer was pretty simple. We want to end senior social isolation. And we want to be able to say that without, and I'm going to admit, we don't know the answer to that. And I don't think anywhere in the country or in the world, really, we don't have an answer to what exactly works because communities are different and, everyone is a little bit different. But I think it's on us to help figure out how can we create these supportive structures within the community, because I don't want to change the community in which people are living, and we are not community, we're government, but we can certainly do a better job of supporting folks who want to stay in their communities and supporting folks who have a real sense of who they are and who they still want the city to be. And we want to really support that. And I think that is our mission, and we're really excited about that.
Well, from your staff, from you and all of your entire staff, while you may be a government agency, it feels like a community agency to me and the folks that I encounter with. I receive a strong sense of care. Care to me is a verb, so you put that with action, right? That's what I feel when I encounter, your staff of folks and the things that you're doing in the community. So yeah, you're a government agency, but you feel like a community. Folks,
Well,
we've been speaking with Executive Director of the DC Department of Aging and Community Living, Miss Laura Newland. Thank you again for coming on. I look forward to our next conversation, I believe in July.
Yeah, thanks so much, John.
All right, take care.